Hello, my name is Jatar, Brigadier Raghunath Jatar. I am 88 years old and I have been asked by Mr. Samota to give a short interview to explain about my experiences, particularly in war. First, he wants me to talk about my own background. You see, I was born in 1932 in a place called Pune in Maharashtra, northern Maharashtra. My father was an income tax officer and he used to be on various places on postings. At that time he was in Dhule, so that's how I was born there. And after having various postings, then my father was finally posted to Mumbai, where he came in 1940-41, and then they stayed on there. He retired over there. So I was educated in Bombay, basically in a local school in Dadar, and I matriculated in 1948. The last matriculation exam of the Bombay University. After passing that, then I joined St. Xavier's College for a year, and then after that I was selected for the Army. It was the second course of the National Defence Academy, then known as Joint Services Wing. So I was in the second course, and then I did my 2 years in training there in Dehradun in the JSW, and 2 years in the military academy at Premnagar, also in Dehradun. So I had 4 years training in Dehradun, and after which I was commissioned into the Kumaon Regiment. So he asked me now about my experiences in the Kumaon Regiment. See, as I said, I was commissioned on 7 June 53 and went to Ranikhet for a few days, and then joined the battalion in the field area in J&K, 13 Kumaon. 13 Kumaon then had a mixed composition of IAs and Kumaonis, and it was a young battalion comparatively because it was raised in 1948 and was only 5 years old. So all the traditions, etc., which are with the battalion is famous for now, were started at that time. Really speaking, we used to be good at sports, and I was not a particularly good sportsman, but I used to play with the troops and used to enjoy my tenure. Then after a few years in the center, in the battalion, then I was posted to Kumaon Regimental Center at Ranikhet for about 3.5 years, during which I got to know Major Shaitan Singh. After all, this book is particularly about Major Shaitan Singh. So the first time I came to know Major Shaitan Singh was in Ranikhet. We were together. He was about 8 or 9 years older to me. He was from a state force unit, and he asked me more about Major Shaitan Singh as a person. And I tell you with all the honesty at my command that I have not seen a finer gentleman than Major Shaitan Singh. And people say as to how did his name come as Shaitan Singh when you are so gentle. Well, that is because his parents thought he was too gentle and he should have do some sort of Shaitangiri to be a normal child. That's how he was named Major Shaitan Singh. And as I said, such a refined, fine gentleman, but when it came to war, he was ferocious and he fought the way now he's famous for, and he got a Paramveer Chakra. That is as far as my association with Major Shaitan Singh is concerned. Now I would like to speak about my experience in the 62 war, the war that I was with Major Shaitan Singh. I was commanding a post at Magarel with 2 companies, lesser platoon, and on my right, and was about 2.5 miles away, now it is about 4 kilometers away, was post of Rezang-la, which was held by Major Shaitan Singh's C Company. And they, frankly speaking, the attack was expected on my post because we were on a ground of tactical importance, and my post, Magarel, was dominating the airfield. And it was thought that anybody who captures the airfield, captures Magarel, will be able to easily dominate the Chushu airfield. That's how our post was considered as ground of tactical importance. Major Shaitan Singh's post was not considered a ground of tactical importance. Frankly speaking, acquisitions go wrong at times. That is what seems to happen. The Chinese must have guessed that that post was not as strong as Magarel, so they attacked there, and the attack was a ferocious battle for which 13 Kumaon became famous. Now, my experience as such, you asked me what is the best experience in the war, in the battle, and worst experience. Well, the best experience, you asked me, is something quite strange. I won't talk about the battle itself, but the few days that about a month I was there in the post, and those days the hills were virgin hills. where not many troops had come there. And I remember a particular sight of wild horses, colorful wild horses. It was unbelievable to see about 25, 30 of these wild horses roaming about 200 yards from us. It was such a beautiful sight. That, if you ask me, is a sight I remember. If you ask me, the most pleasant experience. But as far as the worst experience is concerned, naturally losing so many comrades, about 126 people were on the post, of which 114 died fighting. It was a terrible experience. Again, Mr. Samota wants to know what was my experience, what was my feeling in my mind when those comrades were lost. To be very candid with you, soldiers cannot get emotional in battle. So my experience or my feeling at that time was a matter of pride that people fought so well, so ferociously, that so many people died at the post. Everybody was stunned that people fought that well. That was my feeling, a pride in the battalion, in the company of our battalion. Now, this is what my feeling at that time was. But when about 50 years later on, in 2012, I visited the same post, same Chushul area, with my family. And there is a memorial, famous memorial of 13 Kumaon over there. And when I came to the memorial, to be very honest, I couldn't control myself. I was highly emotional. This is what happens. Not at that time of the war, I didn't feel that, but when I'm coming after 50 years to recall what the people died for and fought so well, then I became very emotional. That is my feeling as far as the battle is concerned. I want to speak about my war experience. You see, I've already spoken about 62 war, but to start off with, I was also involved in the Goa operation. Which is not really a war as such, but I was involved there, and at the end of the little battle that was there, I was in charge of the prisoners. About 1,000 Portuguese prisoners were in my custody. Anyway, the next war experience was 62 war, which of course I already talked about. The next war was 65. In 1965, I was not with the battalion, I was a staff officer looking after administration of 96 Brigade. And in that capacity, I was involved with the leading battalion, which was 7 Punjab, and they reached the Ichokil Canal. So I was frequently under artillery shelling, and we reached up to Ichokil Canal, which is, as you know, is running between India and Pakistan. And Ranikhet Sector of Ichokil Canal, that's where we were. But that is as far as 65 war is concerned. But next was my experience in 67 to 69, when I was with the battalion in Mizoram. I was the second in command and the company commander of the battalion, and I was in fact trained initially with the 5 paras for this difficult operation. And we were there for 2.5 years, and intense patrolling, intense ambushing etc. used to go on, and the height of Counter Insurgency work in Mizoram. In this process, our column also killed a leading terrorist hostile leader of Mizos called Jaisalmer Sector. That was a crowning achievement of the battalion in Mizoram. So that was Mizoram. As I already said, it's the most interesting tenure because the people are so different and so different from what we are used to. And the type of operations were very different also. The next operation I had was, and the final one, was 1971 war, when I was commanding 13 Kumaon. We were scheduled to advance into Pakistan territory to start off with, as a part of the brigade. But our advance was scheduled on the 5th of December 71, but the enemy preempted us, Pakistanis preempted us, by attacking at Longewala area, in Longewala area. They, from the borders, they advanced up to 20 kilometers inside, and they encircled the company post of Major Raghunath V Chandpuri, later on the brigadier. The enemy was incompetent in the sense they only thought a strand of wire was a minefield when there was no minefield there. And had they rushed headlong, they would have captured Longewala and probably gone ahead. But they didn't do that. In the meantime, the Air Force was called in the morning, and the enemy lost almost all the tanks, and they went headlong retreat. After they started retreating, Then our brigade was asked to oust them from our border. So we were posted about 20 kilometers. We had to do that job. So we were given this job on the 8th of December. And we were informed that the Pakistanis are forming up in the area of border pillar 68. And there was the Kharota track, and on that there were two companies of Pakistan called First Punjab and 10 Punjab, about two famous battalions of the army. And they were forming up there, and we were told that we should go and capture. So I volunteered on behalf of my battalion and said, let's do that job. So we started marching, 11 kilometers we had to march in daylight, and as we halted there, we were halted by the enemy fire, and intense artillery and mortar fire and MMG fire. So we held up. So I went forward to meet the forward company commander, Major Bandupatra, who briefed me, and then I reconnoitered and I found out that the enemy was holding sand dunes, the two prominent sand dunes. And had we captured them, the enemy had no chance and the position would become untenable. So I planned an attack, a daylight attack. Now many people ask me later on, why a daylight attack? Why did you not wait for the night when there will be less casualties? Well, the teaching in the army is that if the enemy is in hastily defended positions and we got armor in support attack role, then you can do a quick attack. This is what we have trained for. And this is what we did there just to practice what we have been already doing training for. So that attack was launched in two phases, companies, Major Shaitan in the first phase and Major Shaitan Singh in the second phase. The attack was a complete success. In fact, by the end of the day, we had captured the entire position and the enemy started running away. The enemy lost 51 people dead and we lost 4 people. So our casualties were also less, the enemy lost heavy casualties. We had a large cache of weapons, and that was the end of the 71 war, as far as I am concerned. Well, as I explained, I have been through several operations. I have been lucky that I came back out of all of them unscathed. That's the grace of God. I am very grateful. Finally, he has asked me as to what is my advice for the younger generation. Well, if you ask me that, generally everybody expects that soldiers are fighting for the country, so they are doing something great. Yes, they are doing great, but everybody cannot join the army, everybody cannot join the Air Force or the Navy. After all, there are limited places, and plus everybody may not want to do it also. That apart, if any person, any countryman, any Indian, whatever job he's got, whether it is a job of the lowest possible job or the highest possible job, the job that you are doing, do it with all sincerity, with all dedication, and all honesty. Thereby you are doing the country well. You are serving the country that way. Everybody cannot aspire to be in the army or Air Force, but naturally, whatever job you are doing, please do it with all sincerity. Thank you very much for having me and listening to me.